Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, on Saturday, March the 28th, Nigerians will troop out to the polls across the country. They will troop out to the polling stations across the country to vote in a very crucial presidential election. There are actually 14 candidates running for the position of the president. So we're going to have 14 persons on the ballot on Saturday, March the 28th. But two candidates are considered the top front runners. And the two of them, President Goodluck Jonathan, the incumbent, and of course the candidate of the ruling People's Democratic Party, and Muhammadu Buhari, that is Major General Muhammadu Buhari, a former head of state, a retired general, and of course the candidate of the APC, that's the All Progressives Congress. Now, no question at all, analysts have said, look, this election is too close to call. We do not know. We cannot know until after the election on Saturday. But some of the polls that have been released from some of the results we have seen, I'm talking about opinion polls now, well, most of the polls suggest both candidates are running neck and neck, and that the other 12 candidates, no way at all, nowhere coming close at all. So these are the two front runners. We'll wait and see what happens on Saturday, March the 28th. Now, if by any chance the opposition candidate, Buhari, defeats the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and the incumbent president of the country as we speak, then it will be the first time in the democratic history of this country, as a matter of fact, right from 1960, when we gained independence, since we started practicing democracy, that a ruling party will be defeated by the opposition party. It has never happened in this country. Some people are predicting that it could happen on Saturday. We do not know, but if that happens, it will be a record. It will be the very first time that has ever happened. So we're waiting to see what happens. But then the PDP says it is confident it is going to win the election. But let's just take you back now to 2011 when we had the presidential election. What actually happened? As a matter of fact, both candidates were actually the front runners in that election. So this is what happened. Now, President Goodluck Jonathan won the 2011 presidential election by a wide margin. He polled a total of 22,495,187 votes to Muhammadu Buhari's 12,214,843 votes. Now, 853 votes actually. Now, the number of states won by President Goodluck Jonathan, that's with the 25%. Remember, the Constitution says you have to get 25% in 2/3 of the states in the country. Now, President Jonathan clearly won in 31 states, 31 out of the 36, of course, including the Federal Capital Territory, making it 37. And Buhari actually won in 16 states. So he had 25%, a quarter of the votes in 16 states. And the total number of votes, of course, scored by the PDP President Jonathan, there you have it. And the percentage, 58.89% to Buhari's 31.98%. Let's just show you some other statistics now about that election, because whether we like it or not, you have 6 geopolitical zones in this country, and the election will be fought on these geopolitical zones. These geopolitical zones are very important. If you're able to win your geopolitical zone, then there's no question at all that there's every likelihood that you may win the election. But then I should say it's not enough for a candidate to win their geopolitical zone. You also want to make serious inroads in those geopolitical zones that are not yours. And that is how President Goodluck Jonathan won the election in 2011. There you have it. In the Southwest, for instance, Jonathan polled a total number of 2,786,417 votes. Now look at what Buhari got in 2011. So you can really understand why Buhari lost that election in 2011. Now, while Jonathan got 2 million plus, Buhari got just 321,609 votes. That's in the Southwest. Let's take a look at the Southeast. Buhari did so very poorly in the Southeast, just getting 20,335 votes compared to Jonathan's 4,985,246 votes. Now, There's no question at all. In 2011, President Jonathan had the momentum on his side. I mean, he had this huge political goodwill. The question people are asking now is, does he enjoy that goodwill now? Would President Jonathan, for instance, be able to poll this number of votes, for instance, say, in the Southwest and the Southeast? Difficult to tell. We can never know until election day. Now, look at the South-South where President Jonathan comes from. Not a surprise at all, polling 6,118,608 votes compared to Buhari's 49,978. So you can just see the difference. It's unimaginable. Now let's go to the Northwest. The North now, do not forget, is where Buhari comes from. And what happened in 2011? Now, the result here will give you a clearer picture why President Goodluck Jonathan won that election. Now, President Goodluck Jonathan is from the South-South. He did very well in the South-South. He did very well in the Southwest, the Southeast. So altogether now, if you group the Southwest, Southeast, and South-South as the South, President Goodluck Jonathan won in the South. So he did very well. Now in the North, what happened? Now in the Northwest, for instance, Jonathan polled 3,395,724 votes. Now look at what Buhari got. Buhari got 6,453,434 votes. Now the margin is not so huge at all. It's just about half. Just about half of what, it's just about double of what Jonathan got. Now compare that to, for instance, what Jonathan got in the South-South, 6 million to 49,000. And then look at what Buhari polled in the Northwest, 6 million, and Jonathan polled 3 million plus. So you're now beginning to get a picture why Jonathan won that election. Now we go to the Northeast. Buhari polled 3 million, that's 3.6 million there. Jonathan was still able to get 1.8 million votes in that region, in the Northeast and in the North Central. As a matter of fact, quite surprisingly, in the North Central, Jonathan won the election there. As a matter of fact, he polled 3.123 million compared to Buhari's 1.6 million, as a matter of fact. So you clearly would understand why President Goodluck Jonathan won the election, because not only did he do well in the south of the country, he did marvelously well in the north of the country as well. I mean, the north of the country where Buhari should have been strong. But then things are different now because Buhari ran on the platform of the CPC. And it's a different ballgame now. Buhari is now running on the platform of the APC, the All Progressives Congress. After the merger, it's a bigger party now. It's a bigger platform. Things are different. So we do not know if we're going to see a replication of this result on Saturday, March the 28th. Let's just show you something now. The map in 2011. This is a map now displaying the result. Look at the North, the whole of the North. I'm talking about the core North now. Buhari doing very well. Those colors in blue. Buhari won in all of those states, 16 of them. But in the North Central, very crucial, in the North Central, look at Jonathan winning virtually all of the North Central. Kwara, FCT, that's the Federal Capital Territory, Nasarawa, Plateau, and then you have Benue, you have Kogi, Jonathan winning all of it. And then in the Southwest, of course, Buhari under the CPC did very, very badly. Look at, he didn't win anything at all. The APC, the ACN, I should say, and the presidential candidate of the ACN, of course, Ribadu, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, winning Osun State. So look at, this is a political map. We do not know what the map would look like after Saturday when the election takes place. We just have to wait and see. But something we must understand, situations are different now. Buhari is running on a different platform. Well, some people have said, look, it has a huge support base. That the Buhari we saw in 2011 is not the Buhari that is running in 2015. And that President Goodluck Jonathan's goodwill might have been depleted. But then we do not know what the outcome of the election will be until after Saturday, March the 28th. As a matter of fact, by Sunday, March the 29th, we should begin to get a clearer picture of how this election has gone. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, I'll bring an analyst now and we'll go through these results and try to see what could happen on Saturday, March the 28th. Don't go away. Stay with us.
My name is Martin Onovo, a registered engineer with over 22 years international engineering and management experience spanning across Europe, America, and Nigeria. I am the presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party, founded in 1994 by the late Chief Ganifa Ahimi, About 70% of our people today live below the poverty line. Millions of our youths are unemployed. Life expectancy in Nigeria is among the lowest in the world. We face a monumental national debt crisis. Adequate power supply continues to elude us, and our country ranks among the most corrupt worldwide. The 2015 general elections present us a golden opportunity to turn our predicament around. The problem is bad leadership. What we simply need is good leadership. Together with my running mate, Alhaji Muhammad Ibrahim, we promise you that good leadership that we need with our 10-care program and our accelerated development agenda. We promise to provide security and confront corruption critically, to reduce the fuel price by increased domestic crude oil refining, to increase the minimum wage by decreasing the maximum wage, to use about $9 billion to double electricity supply in 2.5 years, to promote quality education, improve agriculture, and improve infrastructure. We will do much more. What we need is your vote. Vote for a new Nigeria. Vote for NCP.
Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching DEJI360, and I'm now being joined on the program by Libros Oshoma, a lawyer and of course a political analyst. Libros, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me just start by asking you, what kind of presidential election do you foresee on Saturday, March the 28th?
Basically, I don't foresee a different kind of presidential election.
You don't foresee any trouble at all?
Basically, in the South, no trouble, but in the North, I'm not too sure because of the mentality of and the level of illiteracy in that region, level of poverty, coupled with level of poverty, and the courts kind of followership that the candidate of the
now,
APC
when you say
enjoys.
you don't expect any kind of trouble at all in the South, I mean, let's not forget that some people are so passionate about those two front runners, the two leading candidates, and sometimes, this passion could be taken to the extreme. It doesn't matter where the passion is coming from. It could be coming from the South, it could be coming from the North, but the level of passion we're seeing, especially even in the South of the country, it could be taken to the extreme. For instance, you've not told me what we're likely to see, for instance, in the Niger Delta, where in the past we saw militants coming out to say if a particular candidate was not elected, there was going to be trouble.
In the South, basically, a lot of people do more of talking down this way than the actual, what you would call trouble on election day. And then also coupled with the fact that a lot of people in the South would want the election to go peacefully if they know that their candidate was going to win in that region. We want the election to go peacefully.
I believe everywhere in the country, everybody will want the election to go
yeah,
peacefully.
but why in the North, you find that's why after every election, there's usually some pocket of violence from that part of the region because the perception and then also the level of illiteracy, there's this belief that once their candidate is announced in their area as a winner, automatically it means the candidate has won all over the country.
And that's usually not the case. We're still going to talk about that, how a presidential candidate will emerge in this election. But, I mean, look at the two candidates. We're focusing on the two of them, because basically they are the two front runners. But then let's not forget the fact that you still have 12 other candidates. Would you blame the media for probably ignoring these 12 candidates
I wouldn't.
Concentrating more on the front runners?
I won't, because if you pick some of the dailies in the past week, you hear that some of these political parties that feeded presidential candidates in this election are adopting either of the candidates.
And that is quite true.
And so when you have a presidential candidate and then you are adopting the candidate of another political party, what it basically means is you relegated your candidate. So you won't blame the media for focusing attention on the two contending candidates that have been able to crisscross the length and breadth and have been able to at least, warm their way into the heart of the people also.
Now let's talk about the results, and let me just take you through this. We just want to look at the 2011 results, and then let's think about what is likely to happen on Saturday. I mean, there you have the results for the 2011 presidential election. The two front runners were the front runners back in 2011. So it's like it's a repeat we're having in 2015. And then you look at what we have now. President Goodluck Jonathan back then polling 22,497,187 votes. Compare that to Buhari's 12,214,800 853. You look at the situation now. Do you think we're likely to have a repeat of this results?
No.
From what we have now?
If you go back to 2011, you would know that the current president, had so much goodwill.
Enormous.
Enormous goodwill working for him to that election. And also Muhammadu Buhari, the candidate of the APC, who was the candidate of the CPC then, just broke away not long before
from the ANPP.
From the ANPP, and established the CPC. And so, with the kind of followership he had in the North, he was able to sweep 12 million plus votes in the North. Now, and then also, Kano State and Rivers State then were controlled by the ruling party. And so, and then some other states, like the Kwara also at that time was controlled by the ruling party.
Yeah,
but now you have the states in the opposition. You have Kano, you have Lagos, you have Rivers State. These are the most popular states in Nigeria in the hands of opposition. The couple with the fact that Buhari already, to some people, already had the belief that this 12 million Buhari votes is already in the kitchen. It's already for keeps. And so all he just needs to do now is to scratch from wherever you can scratch and add to this 12 million that they know he will always get from the North. Because
that's like a bankable, that's an insurance.
Yes, you can bank on this 12 million.
That he's got that.
Buhari, as a candidate of the CPC, with nothing, could garner 12 million votes. And so that 12 million vote, you can bank on it. All they just need now is with the kind of measure that they have now and with the kind of spread that they have, the belief is that, all he just needs to do is to scratch more. He would be able to scratch from those.
Take a look at it. I mean, President Goodluck Jonathan, enormous goodwill, 22 million votes, not just 22 million. I mean, he won in 31 states, getting 25% in 31 out of 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Of course, that will make it 37. You'd think President Goodluck Jonathan, under the circumstance that we have now, that comes Saturday, the 28th of March, he'll be able to replicate this.
It will be difficult. It will be very difficult. That is why people are saying that the outcome of this election, it's unpredictable. It's very difficult to call. It's not something you would just say that, like in 2011, that the president would just, have its way, the way he had in 2011. Like I said, coupled with the fact that 5 of the states that he hit at all hard, are now in the hands of opposition. And then also, he had 31 states then. And 5 of those 31 states are now with the opposition. So the first impression is that you would add 5 from that to this system.
You take 5 from here, add to that.
Add to this system. That will come to 21. On that normal circumstances, that comes to 21. And so
that reduces the number.
That reduces the number here. And so, but that will still give, if they are able to garner majority vote from those states, that might still give them the required 25% of 2/3 in the entire federation. But that is why it is very, very that's why analysts are telling you that it is difficult to call. And so with that kind of balance, it's what they are basically doing now is to see how they can woo those people who are in the middle. Those on what do you call the unbanked, those undecided vote. And once you're able to, that's why they say the Southwest might be the swing states, because if you look at the
because
analysis,
you're talking about that, let's just go out, because I'm still going to come back to that. Just look at the map, for instance. These areas in blue, Buhari won these areas in blue. These are the core norths. You just look at that.
Yes,
these are the core norths.
So
look at the North Central, for instance. Jonathan winning all of that, and the whole of the Southwest, and then
mind you, these states at that time, Kano, Bauchi, Kaduna, Niger, these were PDP control states.
Very much PDP.
And at that time, he was still able to win majority votes in this state. But now, you still have some of these states. This is PDP. This now has gone to the opposition. And now also you have Kwara in the Southwest.
Because very importantly,
that have also gone
just
to the
something you said. Let's not forget that, despite Buhari winning all of these states, President Goodluck Jonathan was still able to get 25% in most of the states.
Exactly. And so, with that 12 million votes and the 31 states that we are looking at now, and if you take out...
Let's begin to look at the states now. Just look at the map. What are those states that you think?
If you take out Rivers State here now.
That's in the south.
Yes, you take out Kwara here.
In the north central.
You add to these, that depletes the population of, and so this.
And then you have Lagos somewhere.
Then you have Lagos somewhere around here, because if you remember the 2011 election also, Lagos to some extent, maybe because of what some people, someone said was an arrangement between the opposition, the ACN then, and the PDP. The PDP was able to win Lagos. But now it's a totally different ball game altogether. And so with that, with the wind blowing in the southwest now, that is why people are saying, even if the president is still able to win the middle belt and some part of the south, then this southwest might be the determining, the swing states.
Could that be one of the reasons why in the past few weeks the president has been constantly in Lagos?
Yes, because
trying to woo voters, meeting the traditional rulers here, trying to get them.
Because Lagos is the hub. Apart from being the hub of the entire country, is the hub of activities in the southwest. And whatever happens in Lagos trickles, down to all the other states in the southwest. And so once you're able to send the messages from the south, from Lagos, the impression is that it will get to all other states in the southwest. And that is why for the past 2 weeks, the president had virtually relocated into Lagos to see, and it is not over until it is over in Lagos, in politics in Nigeria. And so basically what they are trying to do now, like I said, the southwest being the swing state where you should be able to get, the determining votes. And so anybody that is able to get some of these states, all you just need, that is why the margin might not be as wide as it was before. And so all you just need is to garner a few more states to add to whatever had been depleted from the PDP states, and then he might carry the day. That is, if he's able to do his own work well, that he's currently doing.
Is there likelihood? Is there any likelihood from what we are seeing now that you just take a look at the states? Say you take Kwara, for instance, give to Buhari. Take Lagos, give to Buhari. Take Adama. What's your take there? Because Goodluck Jonathan won Adama in 2011.
Yeah, but
that's one of the states where we have the insurgency.
Yeah, but because of the crisis, in this region now, it will be difficult for you to say that it will naturally go back to PDP the way it went before. And so also, because of the crisis in Borno, some persons in PDP are believing that they still might be able to make incursion into Borno State because of the efforts of the military so far. How well that go will be determined on the day of election.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back now, I still want to get your thoughts. We're going to look at some other statistics. So don't go away. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Honorable Victor Osei is a great man. Before you can find somebody, a politician, to bring out of his money to be sponsoring people with disability, and let me tell you, it's going to be hard because we know what our politicians use their money for. Victor Osei is like a Madiba to wheelchair basketball Nigeria. So he has really done a lot of things and development, and it makes us have a lot of international players. He has sponsored us to some international tournaments, and he has used his life to contribute immensely for the disability persons, and we are seeing the outputs because a lot of people from the lead to the end from his tournaments is changing their lifestyles.
Since Victor Osei came in, it's been one success story and the other. I couldn't imagine that somebody of that caliber could have a soft spot. Oh, I don't know, he has a large heart.